if we buy this, let's say, Downriver buys it, is there anything we can do, just like a purchase agreement on a home or something, if all of a sudden later we find out this thing just disappears on us because of problems that they had? Can we go back after them?
Well, the way it's structured now, we're buying it, quote, as is. And the concept there is, we're gonna buy it as is, because if we don't buy it, and there's a systematic failure in the system, we're gonna be paying for it anyway. So the thought was, take it as is, do as much due diligence as you can. Again, Veolia said 5% of the underground pipes, we're gonna do that. But at the end of the day, we can't, make sure everything's perfect, but we can take over and have a maintenance program that's more robust than what has been there, and keep things up to date with the $38 million that's sitting there in capital reserves to keep things fixed.
We will have a more aggressive asset management plan. We will have a more traditional insurance coverage in terms of catastrophic failure going forward.
But I think, Councilman Remick, that is the misconception from a lot of communities, in that somehow that the county would own the responsibility otherwise. We, the system, have always had that responsibility. It's just been at the county's discretion of how they wanted to move the parts.
I guess my thought would be, Charlie mentioned the Macomb County deal. There's a lot of attorneys in this room. If something major happened with this program, somebody would sue the county, right? Somehow, some way, the county would be brought into that litigation, and somehow, some way, they would share. Now, you might say, yeah, sure, they'll just raise our rates by X, but it just bothers me that the county is walking away from nothing, and we recently dealt with another county agreement where Taylor residents didn't really get their fair return, and I know I'm worried about the unknown, and I'm worried about something major happening, but if it happens, it burns me to no end that the county is just going to walk away scot-free. It really does.
The Macomb County example, so if you read in the paper, Sterling Heights actually sued the county because it was only on the district, which was the sewer district, just like this. They have a sewer district there. The cost was on the sewer district. It was assessed that way. And Sterling Heights' contention was the county was negligent, so the county should bear responsibility.
We had
And they lost.
120 of their employees.
And they lost. They lost that. So they lost it in Macomb County. And so you've got an example someplace else where it's a very large, very recent example that just shows, no, it stays within the system.
Just a quick one. I know this has been going on for a while before I came into office.
Oh, it predates a lot of us.
Exactly. Just one question, basically, and I've heard this and we discussed it shortly. No matter how we vote, if we're outvoted, we're going to pay anything. Correct?
Well, there's.
I mean, if all the other communities.
Yeah, we could become a customer, which means that we
Exactly.
would be charged our rates plus a service fee.
Correct.
And then that rate would get passed along to the
Right.
rate users or rate payers. When we approached this from the negotiating standpoint, the core DUA team had always looked at this as we wanted the entire apple. We don't want to cut slices of the apple. We had to set that customer and owner up as an option because 4 of the communities were financially distressed and we weren't sure if they could even obtain financing if they had to. So we had to have a provision in there that they could become a customer. But yes, essentially, we could become, if we opt not to buy it, we could become a customer of the system, which means you're still held to all of those other responsibilities, plus whatever service fee they decide.
Councilman Johnson.
So that service fee is up to them, and that could help cut their rates.
Sure, that if we take none of the risk and they take all of the risk, I suspect that that's exactly what would happen.
And I would suspect that too.
Do we know how many so far? Has there been any agreements from the other cities yet?
Yeah, I don't know that answer, but I know that some have already agreed to that.
I can speak to that. We've had 4 communities that already approved the DTA. It's River Rouge, Riverview, Lincoln Park, and Allen Park have all passed resolutions.
Okay.
And we've had no communities reject the DTA at this time.
All right, thank you.
As far as the comment about inability to finance, is that still true for communities, and are those the 4 communities that can't get their own financing, or is there, that?
I'm not familiar.
Well, 3 of those 4 we weren't sure, but they have since been relieved of the emergency manager. Riverview was never one of the communities under financial distress, but Lincoln Park, Allen Park, and Rouge were 3 of the 4. The 4th one, I believe, was Ecorse, yeah. And I believe that they're taking theirs to their elected board this month as well. And
Everybody's supposed to vote this month.
Correct.
Yep.
So we'll be the 5th community voting if we do this
Well,
tomorrow?
I think there's others this week that are voting as well.
One more quick one. I don't forget here. You know what, go ahead, I'll bring it up later on something else. Go ahead.
Okay, well, my final slide is just of the reserves.
fine.
So we talked about the $38 million in reserves, and this is the breakdown of them. So 15 million in general O&M reserve. Basically, this is just cash on hand for the system to help pay bills on time and emergencies, things like that. Then the community receivables, there's actually 2 communities in the system who've chosen not to pay the bills for a while because they've been unhappy with the information that they've received from the county, basically. But there is an agreement in place that the day this deal closes, this money is in escrow and will be transferred to DUA. So that will basically go up into that $15 million as cash if this agreement goes forward. There's a separate reserve for some special treatment, industrial pre-treatment. Then there's $7.3 million in capital reserves and $3.7 million in non-judgment levy debt reserves. So again, all this cash comes over, and as mentioned earlier, really this is just money you've put into the system all along, and will just continue to stay in the system with DUA and be used for emergencies, repairs, things like that.
Now I know where I remember. Wyandotte and one other city owed that system over $5 million, $7 million.
That's the second.
That's it.
That's what it is right there.
That's
So
what
they'll
it
be
is.
paying,
Wyandotte and Riverview.
and they'll be paying.
Yes, they funded it, they have it in escrow.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there's resolutions that were approved by both communities, and they were also approved by the DUA board.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Next up.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, hi everyone again. My name is Dan Artave. I'm DUA's attorney. I'm with the firm of Basson Bond, and my purpose here is to really give you a little bit of an overview of this 85-page definitive transfer agreement document that you all have, and I'm sure look forward to reading if you haven't already. As you know, the DUA board has already voted and recommended that this DTA be approved by the communities. Each of the communities has a representative as on the DUA board, so the board of your peers has recommended that the DTA be approved. There's certain provisions here in the DTA that act as what I like to call fail-safes, and the reason for these fail-safes is really because, again, as I believe Bill mentioned, that we're buying this system without any guarantees or warranties from the county, simply because, again, the county's not really in a position to do so, and we're really not in a position to make the county to make any representations and warranties, but we are in a position to build in some fail-safes. One of these is in section 5.1A of this DTA. It's this ongoing obligation of the county to cooperate with the DUA post-closing. What that means is basically we have ongoing access to the Wayne County's experts, employees, people who have been with this system for a long time. In the event of litigation, we'll have access to their resources, their experts, and they have an ongoing duty to cooperate with the DUA. And again, the obligation that the county is basically selling this as is without any representation of warranties, that's contained in the definitive transfer agreement. One issue that briefly came up was, does DUA have any obligation with respect to retaining county employees, county obligations? The answer is no. Again, that's something that's expressly addressed in Article 12 of the definitive transfer agreement. That's one of the advantages here, is that the communities can go forth without assuming all the county's pension and other benefit obligations with the private operator here. The county transaction costs, that's something that's being paid out of the system revenues, but it is capped at $1.5 million. That was something that was, again, mutually negotiated between DUA and the county. The Wayne County CEO and the commissioners must approve this agreement, just like the communities are doing now, except their process doesn't take, it's not going to take as long, but they're set to vote in June of 2018, I believe, on this agreement. I'm trying to advance.
Down
this
there.
here.
Down
There
there.
we go. And again, the theme that we keep coming back to is really, what are the communities trying to do here? Well, we're tired of Wayne County calling the shots, and the communities have decided through this duo, through forming duo, really that it comes down to, we don't want Wayne County to be our provider. We don't want to be Wayne County's customers, and Wayne County does not get to dictate rates and decide how to manage the wastewater treatment system any longer. Just to recap some of the advantages of this deal, we have Veolia as the contract operator, again, as Vito mentioned, the largest operator in the world, international, with the expertise and the ability to specialize and attract the top talent and provide competitive wages that Wayne County is simply not in a position or with a desire to do.